We've reached the end of the old, beginning of the new.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. This is the November wrap-up. So I'm very pleased to do this. It's been a really interesting month. And I'll do what I normally do, which is talk about what I've put on the channel, in case it entices you to have a little look. And an additional thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'm also going to talk about what I've read, clearly. So massive thank you to all the subscribers and anyone that comments on my videos. And just, I've had some interesting developments in my friendships with booktubers and commentators, if that's the right word, recently, which is great. So yeah, huge thanks to all the communication and the building up of friendships, because it's awesome. That's why we're doing it. So the first video I put up in November was the third part of my Ray Bradbury deep dive. So that was really cool to do. So that was because of finishing the October Country. So that's that was kind of like the timing was all about Halloween and stuff. I thought it'd be nice to do it then, but also that was the right order. It was also relevant to the fact that it's still early in his career, and a lot of the stories are taken from Dark Carnival, which is his earliest anthology, if you like. So anyway, that was really fun to do, and now the next one in the Ray Bradbury deep dive that I'm doing is the Silver Locusts, or the Martian Chronicles. That's also another name for it, which is probably how you know it. So look forward to looking at that and doing a video on that as well, probably in the new year. And then I did the bookish A to Z tag Hot or Not, which Greg created from another Bibliophile Reads, and that was really good. So I enjoyed that a lot. I stuck up a video of music, of one of my own songs, Queen Division. I put that up shortly after that. And then I did top 10 science fiction books. So I've never really done that, even though I've been tempted to a few times, and I've done bigger lists of speculative fiction, but I hadn't done a top 10 science fiction books, so I thought it'd be nice to do that. So that was quite nice, and I got a little bit of discussion going on my page from that as well. So that was nice. But I talked about the fact that next year, once I've read some classics that I want to consider before I do a big number, I was going to do like a top 30 or top 40 or something next year. So I did talk about that as well. And then the library tour gets underway this last month. So after that huge unhaul thing with like the 10 videos where I was unhauling books and ultimately showing my books as I was doing it, the library tour carries on with 3 videos where I talked about my cartoonist collections. So I enjoyed doing them, and not that many people have seen them, but I did enjoy doing them, and it's a very important part of my collection I'm very passionate about. So that was all good. And I actually followed that up with a video about the Addams family. So Charles Addams is my favourite cartoonist, and I did the video about Charles Addams as a person as well, but I talked about the Addams family as a creation, so as a set of characters in the series of cartoons that he drew, and also talked about the series a little bit, and talked about the films as well, I think, a little bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. I really love the Addams family, so it was really cool to do it, and seemed to get a good response as well, which is great. And then I did, bouncing off MJ's video from Reading This Life, I did a video about banned books, because I'm going to get involved in her event next year, which is reading 24 books that are banned somewhere for 2024. So that was kind of an interesting one to do, and the books I've set up to read, the TBR for next year for those books, are really interesting books. Some of them are rereads, but there's lots on there that, just basic sort of requirements for reading, I think. So that's kind of interesting. And I did a book review for a book called Black Buck, which was a really good book, but a book that I thought deserved the review because it was quite unusual, but had a lot to say. And then I did a video on Leonard Maltin. So the Leonard Maltin film guides were a really big part of my childhood and teenage years and early 20s probably. I'm going into my 30s probably as well. So yeah, I did a video about that, and it was quite nice. Lots of people were saying, oh yeah, I used to buy those as well. So that was cool. Then I did a video which was, does it matter what someone's opinion is about a book. You know, why do we care when someone likes what we like? So that was quite fun to do, and it was, you know, it came some of the comments were really interesting as well that came off that as well. And then bouncing off a video that Michael K. Vaughan did, he did a video about a book that he'd read called 100 Horror Films That You Ought to See Before You Die. And I did a video that was based around some of those films, and then I commented on 15 of those films and then 10 films I'd recommend as great horror films myself. So that was quite fun to do. Then I did the non-fiction journey book tag, and I did a video about my experience with COVID and lockdown. So that's had a lot of views. It seems to have hit the algorithm. And this is actually my first proper experience, I think, because it's starting to get quite regular, and I might get a lot of these comments that I am deliberately not replying to because I don't want to start some sort of really boring and endless discussion about truth and lies and conspiracies and all that sort of crap. So yeah, there's a few comments like that, which is very sad, but I know there's people out there that thought that COVID was made up, which is ridiculous. You know, I'm talking about when I was in hospital and all that sort of stuff, and people are going, you believed all that? It's ridiculous. So yeah, so that's kind of an interesting experience getting that off the COVID video. And then the last thing I did, right on the cusp of the end of the month, was a video about my collection of Marx Brothers books related to the Marx Brothers. So those are the videos I did. Looking at the Goodreads tally, I'm now on 81 books that I've read this year, which is slightly more than has been some years, but then some years I've got to 100, so yeah, it's fine. Like between 70 and 90, 100 is quite a nice tally as far as me consistently reading. You know, as you probably know, I do lots of other things, so I can't read hundreds of books in a year, but that's all good, so that was nice to see. So what did I read? So it's not masses this month. So the first book I read was Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, which was really good, but I didn't like the ending. And it's funny because I was warned I might not like the ending, but I was like, that's all right. I'm sure I'd like it because I tend to, I often like things that other people don't like. But no, I didn't like the ending either. I thought it was too... I don't know, just went off in a different direction, and the tone of the beginning is so good that I think I lost it a bit. So Dead Silence, S.A. Barnes, really good book. But yeah, it didn't quite land the ending for me. I read Black Buck, which I did a book review of in the month, as I said, and this was really good, really, really good. Massively recommend this. It's a really interesting book. So I won't say too much because, yeah, I'd encourage you to watch the fuller review I do of it. But it's got a lot to say about racism and that kind of microaggression, and about sales, the sales industry, and about family, about losing touch with your friends, family, and where you grew up, and that kind of stuff. It's got lots to say about poverty. Really interesting book. So Black Buck, definitely recommend that. I read a really interesting hard case crime book called Call Me a Cab by Donald E. Westlake. It's really well written, and it's quite unusual. I was quite shocked by it because it was like a crime book without any crime in it. So it was it's called a crime book because it's in that series, and it's an author that's well known for writing crime books, but there isn't any crime in it, and it's really a relationship story about two characters, and one of the characters has got a dilemma that they've got to face, and they're trying to figure out what their responses are going to be for this dilemma. So yeah, it's a really interesting book, and yeah, I mean, it's got Donald E. Westlake goes off the beaten track, and it's just a really different kind of thing from what you expect. So I did enjoy it. So Call Me a Cab, Donald E. Westlake. That's the first book I've read by him, so I'm interested to see more. I read the biography of Charles Addams this month, and it was an absolute joy to read. Really interesting. This is the springboard that made me want to do the video on Charles Addams, because I've been a fan of his most of my life, so since I was a teenager, and I think he's an interesting man, but I hadn't read a biography yet, only read little snippets and stuff. And it's a really interesting biography, so definitely recommend it as a biography. But yeah, I love the Addams Family, and I read Monster Valley because this is a newer addition to my collection, so that's really cool. So this is a collection of Charles Addams cartoons. So, whoops. This actually includes the first. I think it was definitely one of the first. It might not be the first actually. One of the first Addams Family ones with Morticia saying to a neighbour, "Can I borrow a cup of cyanide?" Awesome stuff. Right. So all the way through the month, I've been reading this, and I haven't finished it yet, and I need to finish this because it's really good. These are short stories, and it's by the author that's now well known for Chain Gang All Stars, which has been a big hit. But I wanted to read this before I read Chain Gang All Stars, and it's really good. So again, it's got kind of sort of Black Mirror science fiction kind of frameworks, but it tackles race, and this is written by a Black English author. Can you see that? British author. And yeah, it's really good. It's really well written, and I've only got a little bit to read now, but yeah, it's really good. So Friday Black, definitely recommend it. And I'm also in the middle of this. So Consumed by David Cronenberg, which is really good. I am enjoying it, and I'm reading this with Celeste from Bookbound Weirdo and MJ from Reading This Life. MJ's finished it. I think Celeste is in the same sort of position as I am, sort of halfway through. Well, I'm just over halfway through now. But yeah, it's really interesting, really good. Very David Cronenberg. If you know his stuff, he's a film director, horror director, and it's very horrific. It's one of the strongest, as in kind of more extreme books I've read for a while. It's about cannibalism, but there's lots of sexual content in it, and sort of fetishes in it and things like that. But yeah, ultimately it's about cannibalism. It's David Cronenberg. So there we go. Oh, and another thing, I put this here just to prompt me to say how cool it was that I got involved in a live stream about We by Zamyatin, and that was really fun to do. I really enjoyed it, and I've been really loving live streams, but that's part of a kind of a Voxer book club thing that we've got called End of the World Book Club, and we read 1984, then we read We, and we're about to start reading Children of Men as well, which is really cool. So I think that's kind of headed by Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads. I think that might, I don't want to diminish the role of everybody else in it, but I think he kind of came up with the idea, I think. But anyway, that was great getting involved in that live stream with the discussion about We by Zamyatin. That was really cool. So and I've really enjoyed live streams recently. I've got into a bit of a rhythm with it, and I wanted to give a shout out to the people that have been in the live streams I've done this month. So Crystal from Fiber Artsy, MJ from Reading This Life is my kind of live stream buddy. She's been in almost all of them. And also Dave and Olive from Book Blava. They've been in a lot of them as well. So massive shout out to those two. Al from Big Hard Books and Classics. Al's been in one of them as well. Scott from the Bookish Bryants. He was in at least one. So that was really great. And Michael K. Vaughan appeared in one of them as well. So that was great because I know he's very busy. Celeste from Bookbound Weirdo, she was in the last one, and Brandy from Booklectic, she's been in two of them as well. So I've got this little sort of not necessarily routine, but this is a regular feature now, it seems, which is great because I do love the live streams and I've really enjoyed doing it. So yeah, it's been a really good month, and I also hit a big milestone in my channel, which I'm not going to say too much about because I've done a special video on it, which will appear in about a week's time, I think. But that was lovely to see. and it's kind of it's changed my sense of achievement, maybe, or that I see. It seems like I have an audience, which is lovely. So again, thank you to you guys for watching the videos and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a good month. This month that we're in now is December, so we're getting hurtling towards Christmas, which is always cool. I love Christmas, and I like having a break, and I don't quite relax until I've got my wife's presents, and I have now, so I can relax. And it's all good. It's going to be a good month, I think, and lots to talk about on the channel. There's lots to come on the channel that I've already filmed. And next year I've got some plans for the channel, which is really exciting. So I am going to do a video soon about what I plan to do next year on the channel. So please stick around. And yeah, thanks again for watching. So there we go. That was November. Woo!
Paint me a picture